I think anybody in business who doesn't have a sense of urgency probably doesn't have any place being there. It's because anybody can probably achieve anything given enough time, but the problem is that you've got to do it when the market's opened up, and you've got to do it quickly enough that it's going to represent value for money. So I think that any investor worth their salt would forgive you for having a sense of urgency, even if there isn't a deadline. A deadline is very good because it focuses everybody's attention, and you can externalize that deadline. And so long as that deadline is sufficiently far in advance that it's not feeling like a lost cause, then I think that's a really good way of creating a sense of urgency. But at the end of the day, they don't want to waste their time with you, and you don't want to waste their time with them if they're really not going to invest. And so my belief is that you just need to be really straight and open with them and ask them whether they're interested in investing. And if they go, oh, I don't know, maybe I need to look at things and sort of get back to you, and you schedule a call or something like that, and they're not there on the call, and you send them another email, and you send them another email and make another call, and 3 weeks have gone by, the chances are they probably won't be interested. Or, actually, they are, but they're just really busy, like everybody. And the way I handle that, on the whole, is to say, look, I noticed that I've sent you 3 emails and left you 3 voicemails, and you haven't responded. Would I be right in saying it's because it's probably not for you? Because, there's no point in, you have to sort of filter out your sales prospects. And that, if it's done in a non-aggressive way, they might go, yeah, do you know what, I just think I'm too busy this time round, or it's just not for me for one reason or another. Or they may say, well, I am interested, but, and then it gets the objection out so that you really know what it is that's in the way. And some of them may go, no, I'm really sorry, actually, I've been really busy doing such and such, but I really will focus on it this week. And I'm just not embarrassed going back to people any number of times I need to go back to them, so long as I hopefully try and do it with sort of a twinkle in my eye and respectful of their time. And I'll give them an opt-out at any stage for me, not to call them again on it. And they say, look, it's just not for me now. Perhaps come back with the next investment or whatever. That's fine. But as long as you're being sort of relaxed and sort of as charming as you can be, and you're giving people the opportunity to say no at any given time, then keep going with it, because it's only through the sheer guts and determination that you're going to get there in the end. And actually, people want to invest in people with sheer guts and determination. The thing is, I really love objections. And in fact, the way I see it is objection is just another way of saying question. To me, the process of selling is to, as quickly as possible, find out why somebody won't buy. If they're not going to buy for good reasons, then great, I wish them well. But if they're going to, if they're thinking about it and they're not quite sure, or they may not even put enough effort into actually really sort of thinking, really clearly about whether they want to or not, the most important single thing is to elicit the objections, is to really understand why they won't. Because as far as I can see, objection is just another way of saying question. So, what questions have you got? And it's not until you understand why they won't buy that you go, oh, if only I'd said that more clearly, or if only you'd asked that question, or if only I'd known, I would have told you all about whatever it is that's the thing which is on your mind. Or again, the objection is a really valid point, and they've got no reason to invest, or in fact actually they've brought up a flaw which you can fix. So I couldn't be happier if actually what I'm doing is finding out why people don't want something, because then I can do something about it. I will endeavour to send everybody who's spoken to me, for example, on the pitch, I'll endeavour to send them an email that night. So I may get back at midnight, but they've got something in their inbox very first thing in the morning. And it'll be a summary of what I've said. What often happens is projects I'm involved in are actually active in one way or another, even if it hasn't actually specifically started, and there's going to be a newspaper article or a sale that's been made or something, and therefore I will send them the latest information, or maybe I'll send them information about how far we've got with the fundraising. So there's always a reason to get back to them, and then I'll give them a couple of days to ruminate, and I'll call them up and I'll find out where they, say, where are you at? What's like to turn an investor off is if you've got to let him or her tell you where they're at and what they need in terms of deciding to make the investment. It may be they need a couple of weeks for whatever reason, or they need to talk to somebody, or they need to work out whether they're going to put money into something else. You need to respect that. And if you've called them once too often and said, look, actually, you called me once too often, you've got to, be genuinely apologetic, because, well, I feel apologetic if I call somebody one time too many, and I'll say, I'm really sorry. What works for you? When do you want to hear from me again, or do you just want to talk to me, or do you want me to remind you in a couple of weeks' time, or do you only want me to send you updates? I mean, it is all about respect. That's what it's about.